Welcome back to Everything and the Gym. I'm your host, Shelby, and you are currently listening to episode 4 of season 4. This is part 2 of James's episode. Okay, but let's talk about a tree.
Okay. Yeah, this is taking a lot of really interesting turns, but I'm here for it.
Because there was something you had that we have talked about, and it kind of goes into like the 5 people. In order to provide shade for others, you have to take on the burden of the heat. So a tree, in order for a tree to provide shade for other people, it takes a lot of sunlight to grow, and that sunlight is pretty brutal sometimes.
Yeah, we talk about that. You talk about wanting to be there for somebody. I want to be the rock for you. I want to be this emotional support. Like a tree is shade for people, but you don't realize that tree is only shade because it's taking the heat. It's taking the burn. It doesn't get the break, and it doesn't get the comfort. It takes on the difficult things for the moments that people need to rest underneath it. And so when you say those things, hey, I want to be this for you. I want to be part of your 5. I want you to be part of mine. What you're really saying is I'm willing to be the thing that takes the heat when it comes, because we know it's coming. Mm-hmm. We talk about this all the time. Yeah, we have great conversations and there's a lot of positivity, but dark times are coming. Mm-hmm. They're coming for all of us. It's the one thing in life that's universal, or I guess one of the 2 things in life that are universal is that painful moments are coming. Mm-hmm. And when those moments come and the heat starts to come, do you want to be that shade still? Do you want to be there? Do you want to be the thing that provides that comfort and that moment of rest, even though it's going to be probably, like you said, brutal on you? Mm. Again, it's a measuring stick to say, hey, how much do I really want to have this person in my life? And so, but when you find somebody and you say, I'm willing to take on whatever heat comes because I feel that there's that much value in you, it's magic. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you believe in magic or not, but
stickers are magic.
Are they?
They are.
Why are stickers magic?
Because it puts a little positivity out into the world, and then it ripples.
That's awesome.
You've gotten a ton of stickers.
I have got a ton of stickers. Oh, yes. And they always seem to come at the right time.
Always.
And again, it's the mindset thing. I imagine that if I was around negative people and somebody handed me a sticker, even if it was the right one, and if I wasn't able to receive it, I wouldn't think twice about it. Mm-hmm. Chuck it in the trash and keep moving. But it's the mindset of having the right people around you to be able to see the value, to see that it's more than just a sticker. It's a totem for something that you need in your life. Take it for what it is and then move. Oh, it is magic. The magic, that's where I believe where the magic comes from. Mm-hmm. It's not in the object, but it's the energy that you give to it.
Hey, I see you.
Yeah. And I see on a daily basis. That's one thing I noticed at your ride class when you were handing stickers to people as they walk out the door, the effect that it had on grown people. I mean, when you're kids, you're in school, your teacher hands you a sticker, you're like, awesome, best day ever, put it on your shirt, you go. But as an adult, nobody gives you a sticker. Nobody, acknowledges you and says, hey, I saw you today and here's proof.
I honestly think everybody should go buy a pack of stickers. It might change the world.
Everybody's magic's different.
Yeah, everybody's magic is different.
Yeah. Stickers is your tool.
We all have our own light.
We do. I hope, anyway.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know there's more on here. Let's talk Hyrox for a little bit.
Oh, okay. If you want to talk about growing in 2025, let's talk about Hyrox.
Okay, so Taryn a while back told me, she sent me a video and she's like, this would be something that I think you would be into. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I threw around the idea a few times, and then I came to you and I was like, I want to do this. And I was like, I feel like this is something that you would probably enjoy too. And so I ended up signing up with a partner. That wasn't you. A female's partner, so I could do female weight. And then my husband was going to be your partner, and you guys did not sign up in time. And you missed your doubles bracket. But you went ahead and signed up for singles anyway. What does it feel like to train for this?
It is a similar feeling that I was talking about in the ride class. I know, like I've done endurance races before, and to me, I don't care what the challenge is. If you tell me, here's a difficult thing to do, would you like to try to do it? I will say yes every time. I feel like I have enough in the tank and enough grit and enough stubbornness that I'm like, I'll finish it. I'll die at the end, but that's fine. I'm going to finish this. But going through and training properly, because I don't always give myself the ability to train properly. If somebody asks me, hey, there's a race we're doing tomorrow, I need a partner, I'm like, all right, I'll go, I'll figure it out. But having the proper time now, from beginning to end to train, one, it feels good because I'm like, all right, you're going to do this right. We're going to see what you really have in the tank. But actually going through the training, showing up at 5 o'clock in the morning, putting an ungodly amount of weight on a sled, and then pushing that thing back and forth and back and forth. It'll test what you really want to do. If you say you really want to do something, this will show if you're really telling the truth. The cost for this thing so far seems like it's going to be quite expensive. But I think there's a direct correlation to what we're going to pay for this thing and what we're going to get out of it. So when we talk about growth in 2025, by the end of this thing, I imagine we're going to be some machines.
I'm so excited.
Oh, for sure. What do you think about the training for Hyrox?
If my hip would calm down and actually let me train, I'm ready to go. Like I talked earlier about uncharted potential, and I think this is something that is going to show me that there's a lot more in the tank than what I ever imagined. It's hard for me to be slightly sidelined. But something I have learned from it is like, I still want this and I still want to keep going. And I think like sitting on the sidelines has allowed me to appreciate it a little more for the times that like I am actually able to give it everything. And if I train properly, like you said, we have the time. If I train properly for it, I should be 100% by the time we get to race day. That's what I'm hoping for. But I think there's a beast inside of me that gets to come out, and I'm so excited.
Okay, but rewind the clock.
Rewind the clock.
I want you to tell me about the moment where you felt that pain in your hip and maybe the few days afterwards, like the feelings of saying, oh my gosh, what is this pain? Is it going to go away? How's it going to affect me?
Do you remember when we were all running and I told you guys my calf hurt? Well, I kept going because I was like, this is like part of it. Like, it's just something, I'm doing something new. And my body was just like, what the heck? But I just kept pushing through, but I didn't know that it was going to like affect my entire leg. And so like I stretched it out, and then like that night it was so tight. Like my hip was tight, my knee was kind of twinged, and so I was like looking into it, and I was like, IT band. That's what it is. I don't know if it's either my sciatic nerve or my IT band, but it didn't so much scare me. It was more of just like an annoyance, because I was like, oh, I want to just be like chomping at the bit right here. Like I want to be going hard, and I have to tone it back. What was the question?
I was asking how you felt in that moment, like how you realized, hey, this is going to limit what I can do, or at least as far as the training right now. Because you're a competitor. That's what I realized. I mean, like you have this, and I believe it's so genuine, like you just have this very positive, sweet demeanor, but when it comes time to compete, you are a competitor. And I know what it is to be a competitor. And I mean, I'm dealing with my own issue with my hip flexor. And so I know what it feels like to be like, I don't care about anybody else. I don't care anything. This is me trying to go after a goal, and this thing is trying to stop me. And so I want to know what, from somebody like you, what that feels like.
In my head, I keep telling myself I'm going to be okay in the end. Like, I'm going to race day. Is race day going to look different? Is it going to look different than what I imagine? Possibly, but I have enough time now where I'm glad I got injured when I did. For the reason being, I know it's from the running. I know I ran an insane amount of miles in a week for somebody that's not a runner. And so now I know, like, okay, I need to take it from a different path. And so, like, you can backtrack, right? So, not really. Oh.
This is what I want to know.
Our conversations make my brain melt. You can go on this path, right? And so my idea was I signed up for this competition. Let's see what I have. What can I do? How far can I make it in this competition at, like, where I'm starting? And so then I had fun with it, and I was like, oh, I love this. I love the chase. I love the drive. And then injury. And now I have to, you can't backtrack because you're not the same person. You're not even we had this conversation this morning. You're not the same person you were 15 seconds ago. So now I just have to readjust. I have enough time before race day. We still have 2.5 months. I don't know how many days, but we still have time for me to pivot a little bit. So I'm not going to run every single day. Am I going to start running again? Yeah. This week, actually. I'm going to try. Hey, it's the beginning of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see. But I also, I have to go into it with an open mind. Like, I demand a lot from my body all the time. Like, I'm still lifting weights. I'm teaching ride class 3 times a week. And even though I take recovery measures and I'm stretching and I'm going to yoga and I'm eating the right foods and I'm taking my supplements, there's still going to be points where my body is like, no, you can't. And you have to be able to be pliable and adjustable and be able to pivot in order to still reach your goal. I still plan to be at race day regardless on.
Why does this matter to you so much?
Why does this matter to me?
Why does being able to be this kind of competitor and to see what's in the tank, why does Hyrox, why do things like this, why does that matter?
Because I want to show myself that I can do hard things. I've never pushed myself like that before. And I am a mom. And if I'm not chasing after something, if I'm not chasing after dreams that I have, what is that showing my daughter? I can just sit on the sidelines forever? No. I have this dream. I want to go compete. Let me go compete. Crippled or not, I'm going to pass the finish line. It's the same with Big Brother. Why do I keep applying? Because there's a little girl watching me. And if I was to make it on Big Brother one day, wow, my mom actually went for her dreams.
I like being your friend. I imagine getting to watch the process. Who knows what happens at the end of any of these lines?
Yeah.
But the process of seeing, oh, this is what this person does. To chase a dream, this is what it takes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Thanks. I am excited for race day, though.
I am, too. When I did my very first race, you get to the starting line and you have all this adrenaline, you have no idea what to expect, but you realize you're in a sea of people who are all in that same boat. Some are old pros and they're like, yeah, I've done this a million times. Some of them are just wide-eyed like you are, oh my gosh, am I going to survive this thing? But while you go through it, you see the most... When you talk about the universal language, that is where, to me, I feel like you really see people are very positive. They love each other. They are encouraging. People that you've never seen before. I saw some of the most amazing moments, and I got to participate in some of the most amazing moments. They're strangers that might know each other for the next quarter mile of a run, but they see that you're struggling and they have some in the tank, and so they just run next to you. Hey, what's your story? What are you doing here? Keep putting one foot in front of the other. And just getting to run behind and watching that, I'm like, oh, they'll never see each other again. But for that 10 minutes, 5 minutes, like they were the two people on earth that needed each other. There was a moment where I had come to an obstacle where you have to dive underwater to get underneath this wall, and there was a woman who had sat there, and while I was coming up to the obstacle, you could see her there the whole time, and people just kept going, but she was just stuck. She was petrified. And so once I got there, I stopped the race, and I looked at her, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "I can't do this." And I was like, "There's nobody that exists in this moment right now. It's just me and you." And she was like, "Okay." I was like, "I'm scared. This water's cold, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get underneath this either. We're going to go together." And she was like, "I don't know." I was like, "No, don't think. 3, 2, 1. We both swam underneath and got up. And then coming out, I never saw the woman again afterwards, but she gave me a hug and then just took off. And I don't like to hug people at all. It was horribly awkward, but it was also beautiful. But then she just took off. And to me, I'm like, oh, in this moment, for that 30 seconds that we did this, like, we spoke the same language. We connected as human beings. And those races, I guarantee it, once you get to that line, you're going to realize, oh, I'm around my people. We're all here for the same thing. We're vibrating on the same frequency because we all have the same goal. We all understand each other. There's nothing like it.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So pay the cost every time. Every injury that you have, every tough morning, every time you don't want to run or push a sled or pull a sled or any of it, pay it, because the prize on the other side is always, always worth it.
But I think I'm going to have to say, and I'll have to let you know after we race, but the best part is before it all starts. It's before we even cross that start line.
Oh, it is.
Like just waiting, the anticipation of it.
Stepping into the arena, knowing that you actually had the guts. Yeah.
To train and go.
Yeah, the race itself is just like it's almost like pageantry. You're just getting to go and just kind of be like, all right, cool, this is a victory lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
It is. What comes after Hyrox?
What
That's
comes
only
after?
until March.
I know. That's just the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
It's the first quarter. Who knows?
I don't know.
What other adventures do you have for 2025?
I don't know yet. Podcast is going to go a while.
Yeah.
So there's that.
This is a huge adventure.
It is. And every single person that sits across from me is a different adventure.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see the worlds that come out of this place.
Yeah.
And the conversations. How do you feel being the person? Because you have to be able to navigate conversations regardless of who's on the other side of the table. You have to be able to walk in all the worlds, whether somebody is, bubbly or serious or real quiet or won't shut up. No matter what it is, anything they want to talk about, you have to navigate all the worlds. How does that feel?
I'm training for Big Brother.
Okay. Oh.
That's
okay.
what that feels like. I think you have to know a lot about yourself in order to be able to navigate a lot of different conversations. And I think that's something I've learned over the course of just like this podcast alone is, are there people that I have sat across from that I am I'm nervous to be sitting across from some people because I don't know how to, I'm not a pro at talking to people yet. I know that. And I know I still have a lot to learn, but I also see it as okay, this person is sitting across from me. This is a moment for me to learn. This is a moment for me to be teachable. And so the questions that I am asking are questions that I actually want to know, because I think maybe there's a part in the person that is sitting across from me that is going to help me grow too. So everybody's different. Everybody has their own language. And so the more languages that I can learn, the more I'm going to be able to help people too. And so I like it. I like sitting on this side. I like being able to go into it with an open mind of, I don't know everything, but I'm more than willing to learn.
Yeah, I think I would say it's probably one of your biggest strengths is you approach life with curiosity. Like, I genuinely, people say you shouldn't judge, you shouldn't do this, that, and the other, but you're like rare, like you do that. I see you do that where it isn't a judgment on, oh, I believe it's this or I believe it's that. It's genuine curiosity. Why is this like this? Why is this like that? And I believe that's probably the best skill that you could have for doing this. That curiosity allows people to explore. Because when we have conversations sometimes, even now, sometimes when you're asking me questions in this very conversation, like I'll answer things and people are like, oh, this guy thinks he knows this or he knows that. But I'm like, no, I'm just working out thoughts in real time. But I'm doing that because somebody asked a great question that probed my mind to be able to say, what do I think about that? Oh, they're knocking on this door that I didn't even know was here. And I open it and then see what's in there. I think you do that well. And so I'm excited to see where that goes. But the fact that you say that it's practice for Big Brother, it's just like each step, you're already looking at the next step. So what is it about Big Brother? Why Big Brother?
Because I have watched Big Brother since I was 16. And whenever I first started watching it, it was just the comps, like the physical comps. I thought they looked like fun. And then I just got sucked in over the years. And there was just one year that I was like, why can't I do that? Why can't I apply? I'm glad I didn't make it on that first time. I would have sucked.
That's interesting to hear.
And like I applied that first time knowing that I probably wasn't going to get on. But it sparked a curiosity in me of like, oh, if I'm like actually going to make it on this show, like I've got to learn to talk to people. And then like I started going to the gym. Perfect opportunity to start talking to people. And then I did. And then, yeah, it was just a snowball effect. So there's just so much in Big Brother. Something about being locked in a house with no outside, like, resources. I see it now as, like, the ultimate mental test. I'm there with my thoughts 24/7. There's no music to drown them out. There's no distractions. There's no cell phones, no TVs. And all you have are the people in this house. And that's all you know. You don't know what's going on outside the world, and you have to mentally maneuver yourself between all these people. And now I see it as like the ultimate test. Like, am I good enough to communicate with 16 people and maneuver myself to the end while maintaining who I am and who I believe I am?
That's it.
Yeah. Can I keep me going into this house and coming out?
Why does that not just resonate for a show? Like when you say that, I'm like, oh, every adventure, can I keep me while going through this?
The answer is no, you can't.
Ooh.
Because I know I'm not going to be the same person when I walk out those doors. How could I be?
Yeah.
But like, what parts of me are going to stay? And what parts of me are going to grow?
That's a gamble.
It is.
For sure.
It is, especially if I'm gone in there for 3 months. Do you know, like, I'm sure you go mentally crazy for a little while. Especially when it's, like, down to, like, 5 people. You're like, it's a quiet house. There's nothing going on. That's a lot of mental work.
I imagine, too, you're in a house with people that they all have an agenda.
Yeah.
They all want the same thing that you do. It's not just like we're people just trying to discover ourselves and grow. No. They're there with the goal to say, I need to beat you to get to where I want to go. Oh, it seems like a lot.
It's a great adventure, though.
Why not?
Yeah.
If it'll make you happy, then why not?
Yeah. And then I'm just going to be beast on a comp.
There it is. Oh, that's right. You want the world to see that you're a beast?
Yes. One step at a time.
That's right.
Hey, entrepreneurs and creatives. Tired of the same old work from home job routine? Discover San Angelo Studios, your new favorite co-working space in downtown San Angelo. At San Angelo Studios, choose from flexible desk, private offices or vibrant open spaces tailored to your needs. Enjoy high-speed Wi-Fi, fully equipped meeting rooms, and a cozy coffee bar to keep you filled all day long. But it's not just about the workspace. Join a community that inspires collaboration with regular networking events and workshops. Plus, with 24/7 access, you can schedule your own work. Ready to elevate your workday? Visit sanangelostudios.com and book a free tour today. San Angelo Studios. Work for yourself, not by yourself. Okay, I do want to talk about one more thing. You were in a band.
I was, for sure. I've done a lot of things.
I know. And I find it fascinating because one of the first things you told me was, I'm not very good at talking to people. Something along those lines. You were uncomfortable talking to people. Or, yeah. Anyway, I find it fascinating that you were in a band and you sang in front of all these people. And talking to people was one of your, what you thought was a weaker moment.
Yeah, when I say that, like talking to people like one-on-one is very difficult for me, or in small groups. Like I always revert back to being that awkward kid in school and not feeling like I had anything of substance to contribute. And so, yeah, but it's a lot different if you put a microphone in front of me and you say, hey, here's the song, here's the words, this is what you're being judged by. Oh, I feel super confident then. Mm-hmm. It's fun. And most opportunities that I've got to do things like that have been in front of a lot of people. And it sounds kind of counterintuitive, like, wouldn't that make you more nervous? But in reality, like the more people that are there to see something, the less of actual individual reactions that you see. So it takes this uncomfortable feeling away. And so being in a band was a lot of fun because you're just playing to a group of people, a whole group of people who are there for their own agendas. You know what I mean? They're there to have a relaxing night off of work, or, you know, somebody's on a date and they're just hoping things go well and you're just kind of in the background. Or some people just want to hear you sing their favorite song and that's it. And it's so much fun. It is one of the most freeing feelings ever. But yeah, whenever I would tell you I feel uncomfortable talking, it's because even now, like right now, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, sitting down in an area where one-on-one and having to really just be vulnerable and divulge what I really think in a way where people are going to be able to see it and they're going to be able to judge it, it's a lot. If you sit and you sit in it too long and you think about it, it becomes a lot. It becomes overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And so music gave me something to focus on. Even right now, like, I can navigate this because you give me something to focus on. And so as long as there is that anchor point, then those things turn out to be really fun. But boy, the moment you let go of that anchor, because that's happened to me before, things get real, like, awkward really quickly. And that's the thing that I'm...
Do you want me to pull the anchor right now?
Go for it. I mean, if you have to. I mean, this is your show, so yeah, you do what you got to do.
Hold on, let me go stand over there, and then it's just you.
Yeah. You would think it'd be worse because I have to sit here and make direct eye contact with you this whole time, which is very difficult. But so far, so good.
It's one of my favorite things to do when you're working out is come stand directly in front of you.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome for me, too. Yeah. No. It's helping me grow for sure. But yeah, it's helping me grow in a very uncomfortable way sometimes. You told me it was your worst nightmare the other day. Oh my gosh, yes. It's because I had gone to somebody else, one of our trainers, Shannon. I love her. She's a great human being. But she was teaching me how to do something after I'd finished a full workout. And then all of a sudden I'm going and I'm struggling through this thing. And then boom, right in front of me, green eyes staring right at me. And I'm like, this is my nightmare. I don't know what to do in this scenario. I'm already struggling. It's already difficult to work out in that place sometimes because not only am I a personal trainer, but I'm like, I lead all of the trainers. Like, there's a bunch of monsters and they all answer to me. And like, there's a lot of expectations there. And then, so while you're in there and you're already struggling, then to have this bully stand right in front of you. Yeah. It wasn't my favorite moment in the gym at that time, but on the other end of it, I was like, probably need people like that pushing me. And so I was reluctantly grateful. I'm going to keep doing it. I have no doubt. Yeah. But Yeah, I'll find ways to be the same thing to you.
Okay.
I'll push you out of your comfort zone for sure.
Bring it on.
Oh, okay, yeah. Do your worst.
Yes.
It's my favorite thing to say in ride.
I know.
When you're like, is everybody okay? We're going to do this. Well, just do your worst.
Yeah.
Why do you care about if we're okay or not?
Because that's my job.
Is it? Your job is to make us better human beings in there.
It's to take you to the point of almost death, but not kill you.
I don't have that same line as a trainer. I don't. I'm like, if you die, you die. Yeah. I haven't had anybody die yet, so it works out.
Okay. Well, then you're not pushing them to death yet.
That's right. Not,
Yeah.
Because I don't think about it. Well, technically, what I tell people is like, that is my goal. When you come to see me, I am trying to kill off the version of you that exists today.
Yeah.
My goal is for you to walk out. The old you has died off, and the new you is moving forward. And every time you come in, my goal is to kill off the current version of you. It sounds horrible, but it's what it is. Because if not, I didn't help you grow. I didn't help you become something new. And if I'm not doing that, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I see what you do in that room is the same thing. You just have a whole group of people. Kill us all off at the same time. We keep showing up, so it's okay. Yeah.
You know, 2 lights.
2 lights.
2 lights. Let's talk about journaling for a little bit.
Okay.
Oh.
Gosh, you just know how to hit all the buttons right.
I do.
You should have your own podcast.
I should.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll name it Everything in the Gym.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's got a nice ring to it.
Thinking like bright pink.
Bright pink?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see colors too well, so I'm going to trust you.
You're colorblind.
Yeah. Don't make fun of that.
What color am I?
What color are you?
Yeah.
I thought you were brown too. That's what your name tag said, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are right there.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
journaling.
I gave you a journal.
Yes.
Yeah. On your 40th birthday, actually.
Yes.
I don't know why. Something in me just said, you've got to give this journal. But you'd made a comment in ride class one day about, you said, thank you for giving me the space to grow. And so I gave you this journal that said more space to grow. And you ran with it. And it started a ripple effect. And I have loved hearing about it. Can you share what journaling is doing for you?
Okay. Yes. This is one of the things that, like, I'm hoping affects 2025 enough to change the trajectory of the next 60 years, which is a big thing to say about this thin book that you gave me. I have a hard time keeping attention, like, on anything. Even now, while we're having this conversation, like, my mind follows 1,000 threads, and I don't know how to stop it all the time. And I've tried journaling my whole life because I believe we talked about mentorship. I didn't have a lot of mentors, so I reached out to what I like to call digital mentors. And there's one that has made a profound impact on my life. His name's Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. And he talks about the importance of writing. He says, writing is no different than thinking. That's what we do. We are just working out thoughts. And so I've tried journaling for a long time. I used to be okay at it, but I couldn't do it consistently. And then you gave me this journal, but it's not a traditional journal. Actually, I went to go get a few more of those books because I want to do this for a long time. And I realized it was a sketchbook. And it was perfect because when I opened up this journal, there was no lines on it. There was no rules. It was just however you want to show up. And I do. I will open that book and I'll write in it sideways, upside down, whatever. I just write whatever comes to me at that moment because I have a hard time doing things with structure. And you gave me this unstructured thing and just said, do with it what you need to. And so I started writing to work out my thoughts. And then I realized every few pages you had gone through and you had wrote either just a quote or a writing prompt or just a positive thought. And then I just cheated and looked through the whole book to see what they all were. And it was from beginning to end, there was just like these things that I now, like when I'm writing, because I don't know when it's coming up, like I'll write and I'll write, but it makes me want to keep going because I want to see when the next prompt is coming up. And they've always hit. They've always, like, the day that I turned 40, there was a prompt that was asking me what I thought about my life, like, you know, if I was happy with the person that I was at that moment. And I was like, that was, like, what is life? How could that come up at that moment? And so it's just, in the most unstructured way possible, has encouraged me to be able to show up and do things, but as I naturally am. And out of that, ideas and theories and concepts and goals and just started pouring out, and threads started tying themselves together. And I was able to focus in a way that I never had before. It is not even close. It is my favorite thing, because to me, it allows me to have like a real conversation, like with myself, what's going on, to really work out thoughts. And there's a gentleman named Daniel North Whitehead, and he says the purpose of thinking is so our thoughts can die, so that we don't have to. And so I take that to mean that, like, every choice that you make, there's two versions of you. Just the simplest example, when you wake up in the morning, there's two versions of you, real versions that wake up. One that's going to hit an alarm clock and go, I'm in a snooze button and go back to sleep, and one that's going to get up and go chase a goal. They're both real. And you decide through your thinking which person lives and which person dies. But most people don't take the time to structure their thoughts. So when those moments come, they're not ready for them. And I lived like that for a very long time. With this journal, I've been able to sharpen and work out my thinking, to decide what matters to me and what doesn't. So when those moments come up, now I'm able to decide with very little hesitation which version of me is going to live and which one is going to die. And I let the version of me that will self-sabotage or hold back or will live through fear, I let that person die off much more often now, so that I can go chase things like Hyrox or writing or just being a complete human being. And so I don't know if I would have ever been able to do that, or if I would have made the breakthrough without having this non-traditional, unstructured totem in front of me.
We discussed this morning, but in 2025, your goal is to basically have a map on the wall with your thoughts. And I think that's so cool. But what is the reasoning for that? Why do you want to map out your thoughts?
You were the only person that I've told this to. So my goal, ultimately, after writing so consistently, is to write a book. To take these million thoughts that I used to think that were a problem, all these threads, and I'm like, all right, start writing the threads out and start organizing them and start seeing if they make a coherent story and see which ones serve you and which ones don't. And so that's going to be the point. It's just having this big board with all these thoughts. And my goal is to dwindle them down into something that hopefully is meaningful and productive. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I do know, come hell or high water, at the end of it is going to be a book that maybe nobody reads. Maybe it turns out to be a shadow of what The Alchemist is. I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is on the back end, to be honest with you. I just realized, this is something for myself that needs to happen. And organizing these thoughts, just like you're doing on this podcast, taking the time to organize thoughts hopefully turns into something helpful. And I just saw somebody I respect chase after the way they do that, and I see it working wildly for them. And so I'm like, why not try to do the same thing?
I cannot wait. There's so much potential. You have very, very wise thoughts.
Ooh.
I know you say that. You say that every time I say that. There's still room to grow, absolutely. But some of your thoughts are so good.
I appreciate you saying that. I need to learn to say thank you when people say things. And I am working on that. I do want, because you're not the first person to tell me things like that. I do know that I think differently than when I talk with people. They're like, hey, most people don't talk like you. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I do know it's a consistent thing. But I would normally what I would normally just, I guess I shouldn't say normally, but what I would like people to understand is that whatever you consider to be wisdom or a beautiful thought, it had to come from somewhere. And most of the time, the places they came from were either a real mistake or a situation that may not have been the most beautiful to see. Things of substance come from real places.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever you say, oh, this is a great thought, to me, what I'm thinking is like, oh, I know where that thought came from.
Mm-hmm.
It's seeing the other side of it.
But doesn't that where self-love comes in and says, hey, I know you made this mistake. I know you had to go through these choices, but I am who I am today because of those things.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having the space, I'll be honest with you, for somebody to be able to look at you and say, you might have been a million things before, but that's not who you are now. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to learn from that, but don't see yourself as that anymore. That is a tremendous gift. Mm-hmm. That space that I like to call, like sometimes it's undeserved space. I'm like, I don't know if I deserve the space for somebody to say, be this person. Mm-hmm. Even though you might have been the person who made these mistakes before, or you went through some things in life, you're still going to get, I'm going to treat you as the person who deserves the space. It's a gift for sure. And it allows, I think, the space to take those difficult moments and to turn them into something beautiful. The rose that grows from concrete, as Tupac Shakur named one of his albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. That's the goal anyway.
Yeah. I also want to talk about library scavenger hunt before we wrap up.
Okay.
Because I think more people need to know about library scavenger hunt. Because you and I have gone to lunch multiple times, but there's a day that we decided to meet at the library. And I told you I had an idea that I've always wanted to do, and you ran with it with me, and it is one of my favorite adventures. So, library scavenger hunt is you take a bunch of topics, and then we didn't give ourselves a time, though. And then you pull one out, and you go find a book or a few books that correlate with that topic. Like one of them was find a book with a pirate. And then you browse the library for a book about a pirate or whatnot. But I touched books that day that I never imagined that I was going to get to touch because of that adventure. And I just think it's so cool.
Okay, I think that we have to talk about the beginning of that a little bit differently. Because,
okay, then talk about the beginning of it.
Yeah, I had zero idea of what that was actually going to entail. But I learned to trust you for it. You're like, you want to go on an adventure? And I'm like, these things usually pan out. So let's go. And showed up to the library. You had coffees in hand and you said, let's go. And I was like, okay, we stepped in there. You pulled out this little bag that had a bunch of just strips of paper. And I was like, okay, what are we doing? Pulled it out, read the first topic. Then I'm like, you're like, all right, we're going to go. We're going to split. We've got, I forget how long, or I don't even know if, we put time limits on the beginning. But we were like, let's find the adventure. And I think maybe the pirate was the first one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be easy.
And you pulled out like 10 books.
Yeah. Well, not the pirate one. I don't know if I'd done that one. The pirate one, I was like, this is a lot harder than I thought. I couldn't find anything. And then I turned around and you had a whole stack of books in your hand. And I was like, all right. The competitive side of me started to kick in. And I was like, that's not why you're here. But maybe that's why you're here a little bit. And then it just turned into some of the most amazing prompts, some that I still have. Mm-hmm. And we'd gone to multiple floors, and we had touched classic books, and we had touched funny books. And even at the end of it, you actually ended up winning a real scavenger hunt by accident.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Yeah, it was just amazing to not only go and explore this place that is in this city I've lived in since I was born, but never really appreciated. I got to explore that place, but then I also just got to have great conversations.
It sparked a lot of good conversations.
Yeah. Touch points of why.
Yeah.
Why did you pick this book?
Yeah.
Or where did you find this book? And I highly recommend everyone, find your own scavenger hunt,
Yeah.
whether it's at the library, you just go around downtown, you go to a park, I don't care where. You don't have to do anything grand. It's more about the person that you are hunting with.
Wonderment.
Yeah, for sure. Allowing yourself to be open to wonderment. I think that's what it is.
I carried around Pride and Prejudice like for 30 minutes while we were doing that. It's probably a book that I never like would have thought to, especially with like today's world. So many books are digital form, and so you don't actually get to touch like the actual story. And then you go to the library and you like, I wouldn't have gone to the library and said like, oh, I'm going to go look for these classical books. But because we had a classical topic like in there, find a book that was a classic, like you could actually like go and like touch them. Like we were in an aisle with Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got to ask the profound question, is Harry Potter a classic book? It's the first one that I saw. I was like, is this considered a classic? I would think so. Maybe one day. I don't know how many years have to pass before it's a classic, but
I mean, it's over 20 years old.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I really am 1,000 years old.
You are.
Yeah. That was my first thought. I was like, is this a classic? But then, yeah, you're right. Walking through and seeing Shakespeare and just not even realizing, I guess, you're in that area and you're like, oh, these books have lasted the test of time and they're still here. Yeah, and they're in my hometown.
Yeah.
These treasures have been here and I just have never appreciated them. Yeah, I was really grateful in that moment to be able to be in my city but not be in my city, if that makes any sense. It was a totally different place because I got to see it through a different lens. So,
yeah, so if you guys need topics for Library Scavenger Hunt,
that's
hit
right.
me up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you have any more talking points? Anything you wanted to ask or say?
I don't know. Like, I feel like what generally happens, like, is we just take the moments as they come. And while I like surfing ideas, like, I like to myself, I like just sit and think about things. I know very intelligent people, but I've never been able to have the conversation with somebody who can move so freely. You can go from talking to outer space to the depths of the sea. Yeah. And so I don't know what all you want to talk about, but I will tell you that I'm willing to talk about anything.
All right, let's talk about Max for a second.
Okay.
Max is a fictional character that you and I created. I actually don't remember how Max came to... Oh, actually, I do remember how Max came to
lightning
be.
struck your brain in that moment. Okay.
It was a picture because we were talking about perfect happiness. And I sent you a picture of an astronaut, and it was a brain and a heart, and the astronaut is in the middle, rowing them both. And then I said, I think the astronaut needs a name. And then Max has gone on this adventure since then. We decided on Max. And it's been kind of cool to like be out and about, and then there's a Max. And whether it be in a store or a photo or Pinterest, has a lot of Maxes. But we talked about, like, in the book, The Alchemist, there are omens, and how Max is like an omen of like dots connecting. Anyway, Max is so cool, and I love seeing Max now.
Yeah, I think that what it's become is an idea. I'll tell you my absolute, like, favorite moment, like, where I'm like, oh, I believe in what, I don't know what this concept really is. Like, if, like, I try to break it down to its most fundamental points, couldn't tell you what it is. I have some theories, but there was a moment that I had to go on a work trip, and it was one that just made me uncomfortable. I was around a group of people who just seem to live differently than I do. Goals are just a little bit different. And they were all gathered, and they were having, the time that we're supposed to be having there. But at that point, I was just kind of ready to step away from it. And I was struggling with the idea of, should I be down here and just put myself in this world because that's what they would like for me to do? Or should I step away from this world because I don't know if it's me, and just take the time and go right and just be in my own space? And I was like, well, I'll go because I had just pulled straight into town, went straight to the event, but it was at the hotel I was staying at. So I was like, well, go back and get your stuff, go put it in your room, take a second, and then you can go back down. And part of me was like, well, if you go in your room, where are you going to stay? And while I'm having this internal debate between my head and my heart, should I go? I don't really want to go. The elevator doors open to the floor I'm staying on, and huge mural that's on the wall is this astronaut that's standing there with the word believe painted on the wall. And I was like, this is your... put whatever you want on this. Like we assign ultimately meaning to things. Mm-hmm. But in that moment, I was like, oh, when you saw that, it told, or when I saw that, it told me, hey, you want to stay here. You don't want to be part of that world. Mm. What's going on that's not for you? Just in that moment, that's not for you, and that's okay that it's not for you, and it's okay that it's okay for them. But to me, I'm like, you're going where you need to go. There's no reason that there should have been this 6-foot astronaut painted on the wall with the word believe in this really nice hotel that I was in, but it was there.
Yeah.
And so little things like that have happened enough where I look at the concept of Max and I realize maybe it's just random pictures, or maybe it's your brain assigning meaning to, I guess, what we call the stones. Mm-hmm. Hey, I saw this, and it's almost like a guide. This is the stone I want to step on. Mm-hmm. And my brain is telling me that because it's showing me this consistent figure.
And it's kind of like we get to explore, like, a different perspective, because Max goes on a lot of adventures.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like you take this character in the adventure that he is on, and then you see different sides through one character. But then we created another character. And so, like, Max is, like, big dreams, going into outer space. It's not something that, like, most dream, like, people dream that big, but they don't actually, like, go for it. But then, like, there's a scuba diver who is Ivy, who goes to, like, the depths of the water where, like, most people don't dive into the depths of the water. And so then you've got adventures going into the deep side of things as well. And so, I don't know, Max and Ivy.
I think that duality, and you could psychologically probably break it down to what it is it really means, but I think that I look at the character of Ivy as being willing to dive into the places that you need to go, to swim the waters that you need to be able to grow like you need to. And the character of Max says, I'm willing to also dream dreams that are bigger than maybe I should even dare to. Mm-hmm. But why not? I'm only here for this 100 years. Mm-hmm. And then if you give proper attention to both, then that horizon where they meet at is that perfect happiness, that line that he was rowing from the brain to the heart. Mm-hmm. And will we ever hit that line perfectly? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Is that a great goal? To me, absolutely. But the fact that there's another human being on this earth that sees it too tells me that it's real. It could just be in my head. If I was just seeing it, I could be crazy. But I'm not the only one that sees it, so it has to be real, right?
Mm-hmm. You always copy me.
I always copy you. I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's just been so many similarities over the course of, like, us having conversations. And I don't know. I like to think that the similarities mean, like, a even space. But then there are times where you're standing exactly how I'm standing.
Yes, but I don't know if I'm the one that is standing like you or you're the one standing like me.
I copy you.
I mean, I imagine that there's a time or two. No?
No.
We're going to have to start paying attention now.
Yeah.
Keep track of it.
Keep track of it.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else before we get into deck of cards?
I'm sure lightning will strike my brain while we're doing it. But right now, I'm super excited about these cards.
Okay. All right, you guys, we are going to hop over and hear a word from our sponsors, and we will be back soon. Hey, business owners and brand builders. Are you struggling to create eye-catching content for your social media without breaking the bank? The Local Guys have you covered with affordable content packages designed to elevate your online presence. With the Local Guys, you get top-notch visual content without the hefty price tag. Our packages are tailored to help businesses like yours shine on social media, attract more followers, and engage in your community. Plus, our convenient texting service sends you reminders to schedule and post your content, making it easier than ever to stay on top of your social media game. Ready to elevate your social media game affordably? Visit thelocalguys.sa.com today and find the perfect package for your business. The Local Guys, affordable content to elevate your brand. And we are back. We are going to hop into our deck of cards segment. So what that means is there are 50 questions in this deck. Real life questions, gym questions, and fun for all questions. Now you probably know most of these and we have discussed most of these, but we are going to pull as many as we can in 30 minutes.
We talked about 50 topics already?
We have.
Oh, man.
Ooh, how do you work? Oh, okay. All
There
right.
it is.
You pull the blue card first.
What version of you would you like to see in 10 years?
Ooh.
Who's going first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I would like to be on Big Brother by then. I hope we have had multiple seasons of everything in the gym come out by then. Oh, Crosby will be a teenager. So a version of me that I would like to see in that aspect is I would like to still have a good communication line with my daughter and being able to be confident in who I am, but also be a stable source for her. Yeah. Some big dreams.
That is. Oh, but the fact that you already have like a vision for it is amazing.
Yeah. And then also being able to maintain connections between people. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
That is. But you got 10 years to do it.
Yeah.
So where do you start?
Well, tomorrow's battles are tomorrow's battles, and I can only face today's battles. So,
Yeah, I like that.
one day at a time.
You have no idea how much that phrase, a lot of these phrases have come back, and I'm like, you're right, tomorrow's battles. It's not for today.
All right, your answer.
Okay. 10 years from now, I will be 50.
Yes.
I will be half a century. But hopefully they've had robot bodies they can put me in at that point, and then life's all great. Both of, like, I have a son who's 19, I have one who's 10, so he will be 20, about to turn 21. And so at that point, I imagine, it is just going to be me chasing life. Hopefully, my goal is to still be in fantastic shape. I want to be healthy enough to be able to still be running, moving, competing. If I'm really dreaming big, I hope that I would have finished at least one book by that point. I would like to be able to call myself an author at that point. And I don't know. Maybe I would have liked to seen the world, to chase things, to maybe found maybe one or two more of my five, my forever five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one.
Thanks.
Do you take creatine or any other supplements to assist in muscle growth or fitness-related abilities?
I do take creatine just because it's like the one supplement that it's very difficult to get through your diet alone. You would have to eat a ridiculous amount of red meat. I believe it's also in egg shells, like just really weird things. And so rather than go down that rabbit hole, I just figured this is a simple powder I can mix in. The one that I take has something called beta-alanine in it. It's the thing that whenever you take pre-workout, it gives you the tingles, dilates your blood vessels. And so I It's the one that I take. I don't even necessarily take it for muscle growth per se. I just want the function, the most optimal function of my muscle. And so, yeah, but that's very limited on everything else that I take.
I
You?
take creatine.
Why?
Because everybody says you're supposed to.
Okay. Okay.
And then you know, like as a weightlifter, you're not on creatine, and then you got all these weightlifters, then they're like, you need to be on creatine. But it does help in like muscle production and getting oxygen and blood to the muscle. So it is beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is beneficial, but do you want, like, is your goal to grow muscle? Like,
Yes.
yeah? Okay. That's a very definitive answer. All right. Question asked, question answered.
Yes. Muscle mommies over here.
Yeah. I've never heard that phrase before.
What?
Okay. Maybe I should change that.
Well, now you have.
Yeah, you're right. I'll never forget it now.
Oh. Why am I the face of that for you now?
That's it. Not only that, but just the whole motion. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Green card.
Green card. Oh, I've been looking for one of these my whole life. Do you have a secret talent that you can do right now? Oh my gosh, I am like a walking carny. Like I can do just about anything. What can I do right now? I mean, breakdance.
Oh.
Look, I even go the other way. Look, that's just me flexing on you now.
I know.
No big deal.
I know. I remember when
Yeah.
somebody told me that you knew how to break dance, and then I was like, there's no way. And you actually can.
Oh, wow. I don't know if that's a compliment or...
Because I've never known anybody that can just pop it.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you, like back in the 1900s, before there was a lot to do, we just had to fill our time doing something. And so I learned to juggle. I learned to break dance. I can just spin basketballs on my fingers, just do all kinds of crazy things. And so that's what life was like back then, Shelby.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. What about you?
I can make a butt with my tongue.
Okay, it says you have to do it right now. So
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm born ready.
Here goes.
I want to know what was happening the first time that you discovered this skill.
Well, I was in gymnastics, and I was in gymnastics for a while, and the locker room to where we had gymnastics was very big, and so sometimes I would take bathroom breaks, and I would be away for a while because, you know, it's what kids do. And so I'd go to the locker room, and I'd look at myself in the mirror, and I knew people who could, like, roll their tongues or, like, do the worm, and so I'd sit in front of the mirror and see what I could do. And I can make a butt with my tongue, and I don't know anybody else that can do it. So
That's the gift you were blessed with.
that's the gift I was blessed
Oh, man.
with.
How are you going to use that power to help humanity is what I really want to know.
Comedy.
What a great answer. Gosh. You're good at this. Okay.
Ready for a real
Blue
life
card.
question?
Never.
Okay. What is your greatest fear in this current time?
Ooh. We're going for it, huh?
Yes.
I would have to say that I do have two sets of eyes, two young men who look at me, and I am the example, for better or for worse, of what a man is supposed to be. And my greatest fear is, up to this point, my fear is that I haven't been the example that is going to set them up for the best success. And even now, I'm like, I don't know if the choices or decisions, the things that I'm doing, is the right thing to do in order to guide them where they need to go. One day they're going to realize their dad is just a guy. And I think my oldest son sees that a little bit more now. I think that's what we all kind of have to get to, that we have to realize our parents are just people. But before they get that, they model who they are. Yeah, I think I can leave it there. But then that's it. That's the fear. If I knew that was going to turn out okay, I think there would be just tremendous weights lifted off my shoulders. But I think having the weight on your shoulders is what makes you conscious and hopefully make the best decision you can in order to make sure that those fears don't turn out as bad as you think they might.
We had a conversation about that the other day because I told you parenting is the scariest thing I've ever done. And
Yeah.
you told me that that's how you know it means something to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fear lets you know that it matters. And so having to say, oh, I wish I could do this without the fear. It's like, no, it's the cost. It's the cost that keeps you sharp.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think my biggest fear, I believe Dio and I talked about this on episode 1, but still my biggest fear is letting me be completely vulnerable with who I am, and showing up as 100% me without the feeling of being judged by everybody. Allowing myself to be me and still internalizing like who I believe in as me, despite what other people think, which also comes into play as like if I'm going to show up 100% as me, like it also affects the people around me too, including like my daughter. And so, yeah. But like I feel like in order for me to grow and in order for me to be a leader to others, like I have to show up as who I am. Yeah, I have to
unapologetically too.
I have to be my true colors in order for, I have to show my true colors.
How does that feel?
It's scary because people see colors in different ways, as you do. And so there are people out there that aren't going to see my true colors as the colors that like they actually are. Yeah. And we've had a conversation about like sometimes your dreams have to be bigger than other people's opinions. And so, yeah.
That's how you know they're the right one. The moment that you realize going after this is more important than what people might say about it. That's how you know you stepped on the right stone.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're doing it on such a public platform.
But if I'm going to
too.
be on Big Brother, like it's
sure.
the same thing.
Yeah.
So why am I not showing up as me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you taking the leap.
All right, pink card.
Pink card. I know the answer to this. Do you actively work out your core?
Yes, I do. Let's talk
Of course
core.
you do. Oh my gosh, yes you do.
I made you do chord this morning.
Yes.
Yes. How do you feel about chord now?
I have never so much shied away from core. I think I was just like when I was younger, we were always like out. We ran the streets. We just played. We did whatever. And so like I always had a pretty decently strong core. I thought. There was even a time where we were planking, put weights on, putting the plates on our back. And I was like, yeah, I feel like I got this. And then you showed me this contraption.
My baby.
This machine. And I'm like, I got this. Dude, you've always had a great core. And oh my gosh. When you're like, hey, we're going to do 15 to 20 of these things, I'm like, yeah, I got this. And then I'm like 6 in, and I'm like, wait a minute. I feel a sensation I don't know if I've ever felt before. And then I'm like, I still got to go. And then you're like, yeah, now we're going to move our feet, and we're going to feel it here, and we're going to put it here. And it's just, you just kept going with it. And I was like, I was not where I thought I was. Part of me in the moment was like, all right, James, you were slacking. But another part of me was like, oh my gosh, you just discovered something brand new. Like here is a way to really grow. Like it's like at the beginning when we were talking, like this was the benefit of training with a monster. Like I'm like, oh, they're pushing you past the place that you are comfortable, which is the only thing I want in the gym. I don't want to be comfortable while I'm in there. While I'm working, I need things that push me to get better because that's what I want to be. And so
yeah,
I do. I like it. To me now, I'm like, okay, it's a non-negotiable. I have to have it. Man, in the moments.
Do you know how many people do that machine because of me?
Oh, man. Yeah. I talked, I think, to Kendall about it earlier today. Like, he was looking at some new machines that we had, and we got a chance to chit-chat. And there was a new core machine, and I was like, yeah, I still can't use these. I still use that one because Shelby made me get on it. And he was like, she made me get on it too. And I was like, how many people in here
Yeah. So many people are like, how do you maintain your abs? It's that machine alone. Everything else is an accessory. That machine has built my abs.
Yeah.
Through that machine and protein.
I can totally see how it would. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You're a green card.
What is the silliest face you can make?
Oh, okay. You want to play a game with this one?
Okay, what is
It's going to be on the count of 3. We both have to do it. That's right. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think that was a win.
Okay, I'll take it.
I was cross-eyed though, so I can't. You have to do yours again because I couldn't see it.
No thanks.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it back in real time now.
Watch it back.
Oh, okay.
Make you actually watch it.
Just know that I'm discovering it with the rest of you guys because I still didn't see it. So
Yours totally beat me.
yeah, I don't know if that's the case or not.
All right, blue card.
Halfway through. Why do I keep pulling the real life ones?
Because it's real life, baby.
That's right. All right. Are there areas in your life that you would like to improve? Yes. We were joking about it a second ago. Like, I don't know how to do things. Like, I don't know how to hug people. Mm-hmm. I've told you this before. I like to see myself more as what I like to call a temporary person. Mm-hmm. I try to take it in the most positive direction as possible. Like my ultimate goal just in life is I'd like to be what's called a Sherpa. Like you see when somebody climbs a mountain, like Mount Everest, there's always somebody that helps them, that carries bags, that shows them the way. I would like to be that person for people. For a short period in your life, I would like to hear what your goal is, help you define what it is, and then help move you in that direction. But then I've always been the kind of like, then I want to duck out because I don't do things long term very well. And so, and I've been okay with that. It's worked. It's served me well enough. But I would like to grow past that. Mm-hmm. I would like to be able to maintain healthy connections with people on a long-term basis. I would like to be able to hug my friends. I would like to be able to tell people that I care about them. I would like to be able to say the words, I love you to people, and feel okay about it. Mm-hmm. And so that's a very difficult thing to do. And that's a very difficult thing to admit. Mm-hmm. But these are magic cards.
They are magic.
So.
Sprinkle.
There it is. Your turn.
All right. Can you reread that?
Yes. Are there areas in your life that you would like to improve?
Yes. One of them, I need to be more productive in scheduling my days out. You always talk about monkeys in your brain. I have lots of squirrels, and they go everywhere. And so I do need to work on improving, just like staying on task. So if I start a task, complete it. It's kind of like you dirty a dish, you wash it. So yeah, that is an area that I need to improve, is like when I start a task, do it to completion, be okay with it, move forward. Instead of start a task, go back and finish this one, finish this other one, come back to the middle one. Like, pick up sticks, lay them down. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, I can relate to that, but like, imagine how much more meaningful things you can get done. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot
it's hard.
harder. Yeah, it sounds simple, but when you go through to do it, gosh, the squirrels and the monkeys are strong.
Retraining your brain. Yeah.
Productive squirrels.
Productive squirrels.
Pink card.
Still got time.
That's right.
Oh.
No sound effects, okay.
And it brushes on a topic we didn't even talk about. If you had your own gym, what is your number one must-have?
Oh.
You have had your own gym.
I have had my own gym before.
Yes. What is the number one thing that you believe that you have to have?
This is something you'll find in every gym, probably most houses, people who work out at some point. But to me, it is the staple. It is the one thing that if you know how to use properly, sight unseen, I will respect you as a lifter. And that is a pull-up bar. It is the one thing that, and it's a simple piece of equipment, but it is something that I see most people avoid. And I don't know if the average person knows how to use it competently. And so when I see somebody grab a bar and I see them use the right mechanics to get their body up, to me, I'm like, that is a person who knows how to do hard work, who knows how to do difficult things, who knows how to just rely on their mind, talking to their muscle without any other assistance to get something done. And it is by far, not even close, my favorite thing in the gym.
That's a good one.
I like to think so.
You need a whole jungle gym.
Oh my gosh. I would personally love that. Anything that I could use my own body weight to be able to manipulate, because I do like lifting. I appreciate like the aesthetics when people lift to define muscle or to grow muscle. And at times in life that may be the goal, but I am about my health being able to move my body so that when an adventure comes, I can do it. I had a friend one time who said, hey, I need a partner to do a kayak race with me. It's 32 miles. I'd never been in a kayak in my life. I was like, my body is at least able to do this. It's got it in the tank. So, yeah, the jungle gym would be cool, but the pull-up bar is the first thing. What about you?
Music.
Oh,
Good music.
Man.
Good music. Give me a DJ that knows how to DJ.
Man.
Like, let a DJ work in-house. Play good music. Yeah. Music has to be there. Yeah, you have so many people. Yeah, I feel like it's a missed opportunity, too. You have so many people, which I know everybody has, like, their own music taste that they enjoy, but imagine going to a gym that played, like, all kinds of mixes of music, and people actually came to your gym without their headphones. Like, what kind of, like, that's such a high compliment that people are coming to your gym and listening to the music instead of putting their headphones in and ignoring the rest of, like, what's going on around them. Like, I love the solidarity sometimes of, like, putting both headphones in and being in my own zone. Half of my workouts are like that. But, I don't know, just being able to go to a gym and be like, oh, yeah, this music hits. Like, it's rare, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. Like, the headphones are just an accessory, like, oh, it's a perk maybe, but it's not a have to. Yeah, because most gyms, they're a have to, for sure. At least for me, they are.
Yeah.
That is such an out-of-the-box answer, but that was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a DJ over here.
Just a DJ. Oh, I mean, you've sent me a million songs. And so there's times like, yeah, you've sent me playlists, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess you're going to be my DJ for the day.
Yeah.
And it's always panned out, so.
They're always good.
Pretty good, yeah.
All right, green card.
All right, green card. Ooh. Like one of the very first times that you had messaged me a question, like this was way back in the beginning. It was this question right here.
What is it?
If you woke up as a superhero, what does your outfit look like? And what are your powers?
Yes. I would like to be able to read people's minds, to be able to know like what somebody is actually going through. Because oftentimes on the outside, everybody looks fine and dandy. Oftentimes people think everything with me is fine and dandy because of how I present myself. But deep down, like, I know there are so many thoughts that go through people's minds. And if I could know like just a glimpse of what like some people are going through, then I could maybe help cure them with stickers. Yeah. And then it would be a unitard.
Okay.
Neon colors, maybe some silver. And then when we first had this conversation, I did not mention my hair. And then I came back later and said that my hair needed to be part of the superpower. I don't really know what the hair does yet, but it is definitely involved.
Yeah. I could imagine there's no way you could have the long raven hair and it not be part of the get-up.
Yeah.
So, okay. Oh, well, I actually had this conversation with my youngest son driving back this weekend about the superpowers.
Yeah.
And so my answer changed since the last time you and I talked. I still like my original answer, but I'm like, hey, you got to, I just kind of thought of where it came from. And I'm like, all right, I want teleportation.
Why?
Because I want to be able to go see the most beautiful places. I want to be able to, if I'm sitting here thinking right now, man, what is it like going on in Manhattan right now? I want to go sit down at Joe's and have a slice of pizza.
But are you helping save the world, or are you just doing it for personal pleasure?
I mean, I'm helping keeping that place in business, so Joe's is getting my money, and I think that's saving their world.
Yeah.
I mean, I could use it for good, too, I imagine. But let me have my pizza dream first. And I don't think saving the world was on that. It just said what my superpower was. So I feel like you're bullying me at this point.
But you have to have superpowers for good.
Yeah, well, the pizza's good. Have you ever been there before?
No,
oh,
I
wait.
haven't.
You should go because the pizza's fantastic. Yeah, I imagine that there would be fantastic ways to be able to do it. What if I can take that teleportation and I can take somebody who never has the opportunity to go see something fantastic?
Okay, then you're using it for good.
In the moment, I won't eat pizza alone. How about that?
Okay, you have to take somebody with you every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Okay. I will let you bully me into that rule.
Okay.
Okay.
What does your outfit look like?
It has to be something that's just like real nonchalant because I don't know where I'm going to be. Just some dark denim jeans, you know.
And a pullover.
And a pullover. Maybe. I don't know. I like a good pea coat.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to go somewhere and look like I fit in. But I don't want it to be weird. I don't want to be wearing, a mask and a cape and I just show up in the middle of the place. Show up in the middle of a Walmart dress like, well, in Walmart, people would be like, it's cool.
You'd be normal in
yeah,
Walmart.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got 4 minutes.
We do.
What is your current state of mind?
Ooh. Currently in this moment?
Yes.
It's very mixed if I'm being honest with you, but in reality, like overall, I couldn't be happier to have done this. I grow every time I talk to you.
Yeah.
Every time, without fail. And it's always been positive. It is always enriching. There's never been a time like, I've heard the thing where average minds talk about people, small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, but great minds talk about ideas. And I cannot think of a single instance where you and I didn't talk about ideas. Mm-hmm. And so, in this moment, my state of mind just says, I'm happy right now.
Mm-hmm. I can go with that. I'm in a good vibes mindset right now. I feel like my growth has been great since having conversations with you. So knowing that I was able to capture some of those conversations and that they actually become something that I can reference back to it gives me a good peace of mind. So yeah, good vibes.
Good vibes.
Yeah.
And we got time for a pink card?
We got time for a pink card and maybe a green.
Maybe. Okay. Favorite athletic wear and why?
Let's just go with Till You Collapse. Actually, no. I'm going to reverse and say Gymshark Old School because I have a pair of leggings that are Gymshark from when they were made really well, and they are bright purple, and I have not worn them since I've been on a bulk because I'm terrified they're going to rip because the matching pair ripped. So, yeah, Till You Collapse Old School version.
Nice.
Yours.
I'm going to have to go with Saucony running shoes because when I used to get up and run at 4 or 5 in the morning, I would run for 10, 15 miles just because I felt great. My legs could do it, and my feet never hurt. Mm-hmm. Like they just carried me, and they have so many memories throughout the city, and they just really make a great shoe. And so that would be the thing. I loved it. Still love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have time for a green card.
We have time for a green card. Best ice cream flavor and why?
Ooh. Okay.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay, so back whenever I was a kid, there was this ice cream store that I used to go to called Swenson's. It was in Midland, and they had a flavor called Superman. And it is red, blue, and yellow, and it is now what, like, Bluebell's Crazy Colors looks like. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's just red, blue, and yellow. They do not taste the same. I have looked for this flavor forever. And I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of got like vanilla tones to it, but something else, and I've never been able to pick it out. But Superman from Swenson's is the best ever.
Okay. I like that. I have to go super boring here. I do. It's a classic Dutch chocolate. It has to be there's something about having Dutch chocolate and then it melting just a little bit in the bowl. Oh, it's heaven. It hits every time.
Do you add toppings to it?
No, the only thing I do, like if I had to pick a second one, I would pick like a homemade vanilla. And that's where I love to throw toppings on there. When I want to go on an adventure, it's vanilla every time. But if I just can choose ice cream. What? I do not like the judgment that just came off your face in the slightest. I don't like that Taryn's laughing either. I feel like you guys are ganging up with this bullying right now.
Vanilla is an adventure?
Because of what you can do.
Most basic.
No, because what you can do with it, okay? That you said toppings. You know what? My answer is my answer. So, you know what? I shouldn't have done this podcast. I'm out of here. Just kidding.
You are stuck with me forever.
That's what, forever 5.
30
Oh,
seconds.
there it is.
All right, you guys, we are going to hear a word from our sponsors, and we will be back soon.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we have 15 minutes before Taryn has to be out here, so I'm going to hop us into the next segment, and
Let's do it.
It is only you answering these questions.
Okay.
All right, you guys, we are back. I'm going to ask you 4 questions that I ask every single person because Taryn finds it important.
Taryn seems pretty smart, so okay, I'll go with it.
All right, what is your biggest struggle right now in this present moment?
Ooh, organization. Like being able to being able to structure myself, similarly kind of what you said, like structure my day, because I will start something and then another thing comes up and another thing comes up. And I think I'm going to have to simplify a lot of things in order to be able to chase the goals that I'd like to. Pick out the ones that really matter and say no to the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. All right. What is your proudest moment to date?
Oh, it has to be being a father. It's the one thing that I feel like, for better or for worse, that I've tried to give my all to, that I still want to get up every day and show up for. And it's something that's so much fun. Mm-hmm. It is. I love it.
It's an adventure all the time.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's bittersweet. It's beautiful and it's painful and it's everything life is supposed to be. And I love it.
You've helped me frame some of my parenting mindset just from like conversations.
Yeah, you've done the same. You and Macklemore gave me a fantastic day with my sons.
Yeah. That song.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of that song?
Growing Up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it. It's really good.
Absolutely. London told me, he was like, what's the name of that song that you said that if anything ever happened to you, I should listen to? I was like, Hold It Forever, because that's what I told him. I was like, it's got great advice in there, and it's everything I want you to know. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, go listen to that song.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. If you could give...
All right.
If you could give anybody honorable mention, who would you choose and why?
Oh, this one's so easy. It's the late, great Otilia Hernandez. My grandmother, she was the best. She was the best of our lot for sure, and I would put her toe-to-toe against any human being that ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
She spoke the universal language so fluently. She loved when she shouldn't have. She cared for people who had nothing to offer her, and she did it so consistently with such grace. We're all going through things. We all have struggles in life. She showed up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I aspire to be a fraction of what she is or she was. Rest in peace. I always make the worst joke. I'm always like, "Hey, I'm thinking about you, Grandma," and I look down instead of up because she would have loved that joke. Yeah, she was cool.
Random. Do you want to be cremated or do you want to be buried?
Oh, I mean, I always have the weirdest answers to these questions. Like, if I had my way with it, I would just tell my kids to go throw my body in the river. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But probably cremated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, what I would really like to do is like be cremated and then one day like send them on a trip so that they can go to maybe like, New York, go throw my ashes in the Hudson and then go have an awesome adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't pay for a funeral.
Yeah.
Go pay for an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great advice, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last question.
Okay.
This is the very last question.
Very last.
Yes, this is your ending statement.
Gosh, this went by very quickly.
It did. Over 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
All right. What is the best advice that you could give anybody listening right now in this current moment?
Everything. I don't care what it is. Good, bad, ugly, you did it, somebody else did it. Take responsibility for everything. If you want your life to be anything, then take the responsibility. Don't say, I should, they should have, I could have if they did this. No, just take the responsibility, because at the end of the day, everything that's happening in your life, even this moment, is really just going on inside of us right now. It's going on internally. And so if my whole universe is inside of me, why am I going to give responsibility to anything outside of me?
Mm-hmm.
Take responsibility. Don't blame, even if it's unfair. Take the responsibility.
Great advice. Do you have any other words you want to add?
If you would have asked me a few months ago, like what I thought about just the idea of connection and people and growth, I probably would have been slightly cynical, pretty disconnected, and I would have definitely tried to at least color what I needed to say as beautifully as possible, but there wouldn't have been conviction behind it. But my life has profoundly changed. And it's because I was open to the idea that someone can actually care for no other reason than to just care. And knowing that that's possible has made a world of difference. And so I would like to, in your arena, just tell you thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I will ever be able to have the words to thank you like I probably should. This very rudimentary and broken way is probably the only way I would be able to, but I genuinely mean it. This adventure is a lot better because you're my friend.
Thank you for all the conversations and for being vulnerable with your answers, because it's helped me grow too. And I want you to know that you're a key part of that too. And I think you're a key part in what is going to continue me growing. Thank you. It means a lot. And I'm excited for 2025. It's going to be so good. I love you, friend.
I love you too, friend.
right, you guys, we are concluding episode 4 of season 4. That was part 2. If you did not catch part 1, make sure you go back and listen. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Make sure you download, like, and subscribe. It helps us out more than you know. Go do something kind and have a beautiful day. Bye, friends.